All right. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 3:30 on Sunday, October 31st. The first ever James LeBuke show. That is our theme music, brought to you by, the built-in royalty-free music. Hello, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to the first ever episode of the James LeBuke show. This summer, when I put out the video teasing this experience, I thought it would be a recorded one that I could edit with little tidbits and pop-ups. But I ran out of time due to school and swimming. So this is the format that we now have of the James LeBuke show live. This is raw. Anything can happen right now. I could snap my fingers or not. But today, I am joined by a co-host who is not a permanent co-host, but I am so glad he's our co-host for today, for a very special first episode of the James LeBuke show. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He is my roommate. He is Jack McCurdy. Say hello, Jack.
Hey, James. I'm really glad that you could have me on the show today. I'm very honored to be the very first co-host of the live show.
Well, I am happy to have you as well, and I'm glad you said yes. Jack's nickname is Dirty. That's why the camera says that. If anyone was, it's not an insult. We're on the same page. We are a team, a dynamic duo here. Also, why today? Why did I start this podcast? I started it because I made a promise to you in that video that I would give you the best content, the best show I possibly could, and I'm going to try to deliver today to the 5 people that commented. This is for you. The studio has undergone some changes, as you may notice. We have some new additions to the wall of celebrities. We will start with our first celebrity, Oprah. The guy from John Wick and live action Hercules with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Also Oprah again. Oprah twice. John Entwistle's still here as before. Lead Belly. My printer began to run out of ink towards the end of the wall. Michael Keaton's Batman. And of course, Ninja. Ninja was a last-minute addition. It's okay if I'm covering him. All right, we have introduced the show. Next, I put out a poll. Oh wait, let me add Dirty on here so you can see what is going through the mind of the genius of Jack McCurdy.
My mind is always running.
I believe you. Our show. We have a. Are you looking at the chat? Any message in chat?
There's a let's go from Ethan Woolbrook.
Oh, nice. Good
and
one.
And also, I'm excited from Jared Daigle.
All right. Intermittently, I will tell you when to add the chat. But I put on my story questions for you to ask questions, the audience, because this is a group. This needs audience participation, the show. And I had 3 questions, 3 responses that could be used. And one was making fun of my hairline. Unacceptable in the future. Is there a booing button? Oh, yeah. That's what you get. In the future, I would like more participation from the fans. Anyway, so another thing that the fans, people were asking, people were messaging me was, what is the show? What is the purpose of the show? Which I had no answer to. So what I did some Googling on the internet, did some typing to find what a podcast could be about. So me and Dirty are going to try, in this segment, different formats for podcasts and see what sticks, see what the fans like, and maybe that'll be the theme for the future. First type of show was a food show, a show reviewing food, tasting food. So today, Dirty has cooked us up a food. Dirty?
So yeah, today we made some mac and cheese, hold the cheese, and instead we have some, what is it? It's cotton candy flavored macaroni.
You're not going to find this on Joe Rogan's podcast. Segment number 2 that came up on the list of things to try is a quote podcast. Have you ever heard of one of these? Jack, before?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure it's very cool.
It is very cool and fun. The quote today that we have picked, it's a quote that you can live your day, your week, we're hoping to do this show every week. Live your week based on this quote that I give. And today, actually, I like it. This aftertaste of cotton candy is actually quite good. Keep reading the chat. Let me know if anything good. But don't tell me all the ones. Again, this is the first show. There will be kinks. The first quote: "Be humble. Be humble. When's the last time someone told you to be amazing? Be great. Be great. Be awesome. Be awesome." That is by Kanye West. That is beautiful. What do you think about that, Dirty?
I think Kanye West is a very beautiful lyricist. I think that while his words have some truth, it's also important to be humble. Being humble and being awesome, you can do both at the same time. And you can just be awesome. Being awesome is awesome. You need to be awesome.
Okay. Very good. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dirty. This is why we have him on the show, for his great points. Okay. One of our next segments before our special guest comes in. Are you excited about our special guest, Jack?
Yeah, I'm very excited. 2-time Emmy Award winner.
2-time Emmy. I'm not gonna give away too many hints. 2.5 million followers on Instagram. Is enough said?
Yes,
huh?
that
2-time Emmy winner.
A lot said.
2010, 2012, Best Supporting Actor. Oh, shoot. Someone could Google that now. I didn't say drama or comedy. Shoot. Well, too bad. Anyways, our next type of podcast, there's a podcast category, a genre called birthday show. There's a birthday category where a podcast that says birthdays for the day that you film. So someone watching can be like, wow, I have that same birthday as this celebrity. So I put together for us a little slideshow of all the celebrities whose birthdays today. How do you feel about that, Jack?
I think it's a great way to show people, celebrities are not that different from us. They just have fame. We don't, but it's okay because we have the same birthday.
Oh, I do agree with you, Jack. All right. Now, this is a tribute to every birthday today. Number 1, Peter Jackson. It is Peter Jackson's birthday. That's a mistake. That's supposed to be Willow Smith. Will Smith's daughter. Jaden Smith's daughter. This is Rob Schneider of Adam Sandler's movies. It is also his birthday today. Vanilla Ice of Vanilla Ice. There's a show called Vanilla Ice Goes Amish, which is a good show on the House Network. Again, Peter Jackson, he did the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings films. Are you familiar with his work?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I've seen The Hobbit, not Lord of the Rings, though. But The Hobbit was really good, so I'm sure Lord of the Rings is even better.
It is. It's far better. I'm upset with that. All right, anyway. How about Rob Schneider? Are you a big Rob Schneider head, Dirty?
I wouldn't call myself a Rob head. I truthfully do not even know who that is.
He's the I would consider him the barnacle of Adam Sandler movies. He's stuck to the side of them. Annoying, irritating. Hard to get rid of him. He was, you ever watch Grown Ups?
Yeah.
He was the guy with the toupee. I think that's his biggest accomplishment. Again, that's not supposed to be Jaden Smith. That's supposed to be Willow Smith. The Whippet. Are you a fan of? She has new music that's actually really good.
I've never heard her new music, but her old music is not very appealing, in my opinion. So I just never wanted to listen to the new music.
Interesting input. Thank you, Dirty. Vanilla Ice as well. Not many people know this. I'm a Vanilla Ice head. Always have been. Probably one of my favorite rappers of the 90s. And it is his birthday today. But also we have a shout out to someone who may or may not be watching. Caleb McIntyre, one of my high school friends. It's his birthday today. So I thought we'd shout him out. That was the birthday segment. Celebrity birthdays. All right. How do we get back to joint camera? All right. That was our testing out other segments. Please put in the comments, message if you would like us to become a birthday show, a quote show, or a food show for our themes. But next segment, before our guest will be calling in at 3:58 Eastern Standard Time, I believe is the message he sent me. Do you want to give another hint about it? He was on a show that lasted a long time on TV. You know, it depicts a modern family.
Might have given a little bit too much away right there. But
that could be anyone. That could be any show. I'll leave it at that. Okay, next segment that I would like to do. I don't feel like I'm using the sound bites enough. Our next segment is called Airing of Grievances, which is a segment for those who know me or may not know me. I get upset easily, and things can ruin my week, month, and year, just single events. And I thought I would air my grievances with you. And, you know, it was a pretty good week. Nothing ruined my week except for me and Dirty, saw the new James Bond movie. And for those of you who we're about to review the James Bond movie, if you don't want spoilers, join back at 3:58. But it's been out for 3 weeks. If you've wanted to see it, you've seen it. If you're a Bond head, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you're not missing out on much, in my opinion. Jack, what were your initial thoughts?
Truthfully, I thought it was a really good movie. I thought that there were a lot of good points raised by the movie itself, and James Bond. The villains were great, and the backstories were lit up.
And that's why he is not a movie expert, quite like myself. James Bond sucked. I hated it. James Bond was so bad, and here are my reasons why. First of all, you said good villain. As far as I'm concerned, Rami Malek's only acting quality is having weird-looking eyes. The entire time he was mumbly, fumbly, and bad. There was no backstory towards his character. For those, again, I'm going to assume that you've seen this movie if I'm giving the review. But there's a lack of explanation to who he was, how he had money, how he rose to power. Like, all of a sudden, over the course of every Daniel Craig movie, there's Spectre, this organization that can take down entire governments and is in charge of all world governments. And Rami Malek just comes in and erases them all and can influence members in Spectre and persuade them for what? How?
Well, I think there were plot holes in there for sure.
Well, how? What is his thing?
But with the
never explained.
backstory that was there, it did give
What was
light
that backstory? Go ahead.
The backstory was his family being murdered by.
But people's families, you know, in movies get murdered. But how does he rise to be so rich and powerful that he can persuade an entire organization like Spectre to crash and fall to the ground? It doesn't explain that. It doesn't. He likes plants. They mention that multiple times throughout the movie, but they never mention how he can take down an entire government.
That's a fair point.
That's not the only time of lack of explanation. In the beginning of the film, Rami Malek's character goes and tries to murder a little girl, and the little girl shoots him 7 times in the chest. 7 times in the chest. Falls off a railing, hits, and the girl's running away, and he just gets up and shrugs it off and chases her down and is shooting at her. They never reveal a bulletproof vest. They never are like, how did he just survive 7 bullets to the chest?
Well, the one thing I was confused about is why he left her alive. You know, he went after her, saw that she was struggling, could have left her for dead, and pulled her out instead, and kind of gave a weird obsession towards her.
Yeah, because it kind of made him seem to be a pedophile because he loves this woman, but he met her when she was like 5 or 6 or a young child, and that's when he, through the ice, loved her, loved the look of her, and wanted to love her. All right, another issue I had was with the Bond woman herself. In the history of Bond, for you non-Bond fanatics, each movie has a Bond woman, a Bond girl, to bring it to the movie. Like, oh, who's the new Bond girl? And they reuse the same one. And she was not interesting in the previous movie. And then you bring her in again. And so James Bond is a ladies' man, right? He's supposed to be with all these different women. He's again with the same woman. What's the same point? They have done it in the past where James Bond, here I'm going to pull up this clip on, I don't want to give away anything. This clip right here, James Bond is married, right? And this is just like the opening scene to the new movie, right there. Oh, they're married and they're in the village of where they live, and they're waving to people who love, or they're driving in the village, and then oh, doesn't something happen here? 2 minutes and 10 seconds. This is what I assumed would happen. Blofeld comes in, boom, 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 dead. And then guess what? In the next movie, we have a new Bond woman, which is interesting. And then now we have a reason for Bond to get revenge, right? Because he just didn't realize that his wife just got brutally murdered and then has to look at her. Anyway, that's a scene from a previous movie. Having another one just adds a lack of familiarity. Well, they kept teasing that Ana de Armas would be the next big Bond woman, but she had a 5-minute scene. She was in every single poster for the movie, and she had 5 minutes.
I think the scene that she was in was beautifully shot, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I know. Well, she was supposed to be the savior of this next movie. I was hoping that the wife died. He had a reason to go after Blofeld. And again, Blofeld in this movie, spoiler alert, dies in an intense scene where there's poison on his hand. And they ruin this scene too, because there's all this tension due to that he may or may not be about to kill Blofeld. You know, his hand, it's getting close to him. Oh, he's about to touch him. And then instead of just leaving it as, oh, wow, that was a close call, for no reason, James Bond starts like choking Blofeld and he dies, which we've spent 6 movies building up to have a villain die in a 5-minute scene in prison after he is a staple. James Bond, the thing is, it's not a one movie end or like there's a story arc for each actor. Each movie is continuous. It's a continuous story. So to get Blofeld killed already in his second movie appearance where he's come back, I think that's a waste.
I do agree that was a waste because in past movies, Blofeld was a good villain, and here they just kind of painted him as expendable. They killed him off very easily.
Yeah, and he's the villain in like Spectre, and him are the villain in like every James Bond movie. Oh, it's like spy versus spy. You need one to oppose the other, right? Superman, Lex Luthor, something like that. It's such a staple of the franchise, it makes no sense to get rid of him right off the bat when you've just introduced him. And with an amazing actor like Christoph Waltz, and you replace him with Rami Malek, who's just googly eye idiot, it's very frustrating. My next point, we'll get on quick before our guest is coming soon. Daniel Craig, what gives him the right as a Bond villain? Spoiler alert, this is a big one. James Bond fucking dies in this movie. He could save himself and just decides to let himself be killed. Which, what happens is he would know if he survived, he would no longer be able to see his wife and kid. Good. Okay, now he can be a ladies' man again. Now he's broken, he's hurt. James Bond's supposed to be hurt in the next movie. Now what are they supposed to do? Just ignore it. They can never use any of those actors that play M, Moneypenny, or any of these characters ever again in the movie. Otherwise, it's like multiple universes, it doesn't make sense why they kill off those characters. Jack?
I think it was a kind of a fitting end to the movie series itself. I do agree that they can't use those characters anymore, and that's kind of upsetting because they set them up really well. But then all of a sudden, he's just dead, and they can't use him anymore. I feel like maybe he couldn't have gotten off the island in time.
No, he definitely could. They had plenty of time to get off this island before it
he
exploded.
didn't have a lot of time.
He did have plenty of time.
He didn't have that.
There was plenty of time. There was plenty of time to jump in the water last minute. Oh, is he dead? Is he not dead? They should just end it on the last movie and then get a new James Bond in, because there's no way to start a new Bond. Okay, we're just starting over. Every Bond movie is its own storyline. It's a new alternate James Bond. No, every James Bond movie was supposed to be like, oh, you got a new haircut, Bond, when it's a completely different person. Or like M, it's like, M is a position, right, that can be filled by other people. Or Moneypenny, it's just a title. But then specific people who it has to be them, like James Bond. His name's James Bond. It's not his position. Like 007 can be switched into any character. But James Bond himself, how do you make another James Bond movie after this?
Well, you just have a new James Bond. Like, they set up the ending really well where there's a new 007.
How? Well, and they have a little joke where there's a character, a woman who takes over the position of 007. She is one of the best characters in the film. She's fun, and she plays that role of, yeah, that's a title. Someone can be another 007, but there is no other James Bond, right? And then they replace her like nothing, and the James Bond is dead. How do they make another James Bond? They can't use those previous actors. Sorry, I'm looking back at my points. For non-Bond heads, this is a great movie because you've seen the Daniel Craig ones. It's a whole arc, how he started as a James Bond and how it ended. But if you're a James Bond head like me, I feel like this is just a complete waste of what the whole series. Why is Daniel Craig so cool that James Bond has to end with him? You know, you didn't see Sean Connery and his Bond died, and there's another Bond. There are like 20-something movies of James Bonds, and you just decide to stop it with some lame-o, stupid, boring movie. That even a bad James Bond movie is a good movie. You know, the locations look good, the acting's okay, but it just is so frustrating. There was no mystery in the entire movie. The little girl who they got to look like James Bond, they made her eyes so much look like James Bond, and they're like, that was the big mystery that was the daughter. Or Rami Malek's character, the creepy guy who's collecting her hair in her office. We're surprised that guy's the same villain from the beginning. I don't know.
I think that the kid being his was a big plot twist. I think that we could have seen it coming, yeah, but it was new in there. You know, like at the very end, it was fitting. She was like, by the way, this is your kid. And he's like, I know. And it just made it seem like it was a really interesting fit to the end, you know?
No, I do not know. This movie, you know, airing of grievances isn't just for movies, but I was upset with this movie. I think it is done. Are you looking at the chat? I give it a 5 out of 10, maybe less than that if I was doing one man's trash. Do I recommend James Bond for you guys to watch? No. Well, if you haven't seen James Bond, any other James Bonds, yeah, this is a good movie. You'll enjoy it. If you've seen James Bond, pretend it doesn't exist. Never watch it. Protect your legacy of James Bond. Because within the first little bit, characters start dying who live on through every James Bond movie, and I knew something was wrong. Again, I don't know. I'm just disappointed with this. Our guest is coming in 4 minutes, and the James Bond took less time than I had assumed. Because I was less upset now. I've had time to grieve the disappointment of the movie because it has been about a week since I've seen it. But right off the bat, I did want to do the review, but we've waited till now.
And I think that's a good thing. You know, we were able to talk about it several times over the course of the week and air out every single grievance that we had.
Yeah, I guess so. What, anybody saying anything in the chat?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they can't wait to see Steve Carell as the guest today.
Wrong? Oh,
not even close.
Bad guess. Not even a good guess.
Close.
All right. Well, I'll do this 3 minutes introducing our guest just in case. Well, my biggest fear, I'm so nervous because how it came about is midnight, a couple nights ago, I just didn't have a guest. I wasn't sure what we were going to do in the show. So I messaged some celebrities and he responded. And I was so excited because I'm such a big fan of his. And he responded. We set up the time, joking back and forth. But it was kind of joking with the time, and he has a sense of humor, a good sense of humor, so I'm worried that there will be no, the joke is that he won't show up.
I think there's a good chance he does show up. He said he would, so I think that it's safe to say that he will.
Yeah, I'm nervous. We got a couple questions for him. And then how long does he stay? Because I said I don't have a whole lot of time, or he doesn't have a whole lot of time. So maybe we get one question in with our guest. I will show who our guest is, and I will give if you guys were waiting because he should phone in 2 minutes. We got Eric Stonestreet from Modern Family, Cam on Modern Family, and in many other shows. He was in Bad Teacher, Identity Theft, amazing comedic actor. Oh, where Dirty's gone. But he should be phoning in about 2 minutes. Where's the joint camera? We don't have quite enough time for another airing of grievances, which I have a couple more planned. Well, I'll do a quick airing of grievances until he phones. Another airing of grievances is with Jack. Jack is a very positive man, and every morning it could be 5 a.m., 5:30, and he says, and I am dead, and I'm about to go into a 2-hour practice in the pool, and he goes,
It's a great day to have a good day. I know how much you love it when I say that at 5:30 in the morning, so I say it every single morning at 5:30 in the morning.
This is what I have to deal with. Jack, we have 1 minute, 60 seconds. That's one airing of grievances. Another airing of grievances, Halloween parties. Hate them. Why? Because when you show up in your costume, the only thing people say to you is, oh, wow, you're such and such. Like last night I dressed up as Harry Potter. And they're like, oh, Harry Potter. Very nice, right? They acknowledge your costume. What do you say to that?
Well, you're supposed to say thank you and, say you're a huge fan of
Their
whatever costume
But I
you
don't
are,
always
and-
know what their costume is. And if I get it wrong, they're upset. That
Well,
I
you don't have to guess. You can just say, hey, what are you dressed as,
Yeah, I guess. But like the whole night, it's like, oh, hey, Harry Potter. And then, oh, you're a slutty nurse. I don't know. I don't know if it's a character from a show. I don't know what they're trying to do.
The slutty pumpkin.
Yeah. 58. He should be phoning right now. Oh, my God. I just got a missed call.
Well,
Do I
call back.
All right. You got to pop out.
Hello, thank you for your calling. Please leave a message.
Hello? How's it going?
Record button.
Oh, sorry. I got to attach you to the setup. How's it going?
Good, dude.
So I forgot. I didn't tell you in the message, but this is a live show for my
Oh, okay.
guests. You have some people showing up, but I want to say thank you very much for showing up on the show. For those who you were a secret guest. So do you mind if I introduce you real quick?
No.
All right. So I'm very excited to announce our first guest of the James LeBuke Show. He's an extremely funny guy, 2-time Emmy winner from the hit show Modern Family, a diehard Chiefs fan, which I won't hold against him. Please welcome Eric Stonestreet. We got the applause here from the live audience.
Awesome.
From the live audience here. Thank you for coming on such short notice.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many people did you send that message to?
It was about midnight on Friday before practice. I sent it to 5 of my favorite celebrities.
Okay.
Lakeith
And how many of them
Stanfield.
got back to you?
You were.
Really?
You were the only one. Well, I sent it to, I lied, sorry, 10 of my favorite celebrities, including,
Jesus.
and
Pete.
none of them, I know. Some of them, fame got to them. Fame changed them.
I want to know who you sent it to. So who are the 9
All right,
others?
Let's go to the others. I will open up my Instagram right now. I know Lakeith Stanfield is one.
Who?
Lakeith Stanfield from Get Out.
Great.
Yep.
Yep.
Those other ones. Mark Hamill.
Mm.
George St. Pierre. I'm Canadian. You may not know, so I sent it to some of my Canadians. Chris Hadfield, astronaut. Of Jay Onright. That's another Canadian. Eric Andre.
Funny guy.
Very funny guy. Seth Rogen and Charlie. Do you know Moist Critical? Penguin Zero. Internet celebrity. Those were and Eric Wareheim of Tim and Eric.
A lot of
I
Erics.
sent it to. Yeah, a lot of Erics. But we got the best Eric.
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't tell it to any other of the Erics. But my favorite Eric came on.
So do you want to tell everybody what your message said to me?
Yeah. Which is now a lie because I got some more subscribers since you were named as a guest. But I said, my guest dropped out of my podcast for Sunday. Want to be my new guest. I have 62 subscribers. Which
it made me laugh, dude. I mean, it literally made me laugh. I read it and I was like, yeah, well, I mean, why not? And then I checked you out to see if you were, I looked at your Instagram, and the first person I saw you followed was Norm Macdonald. So I thought, well, you have good taste. And
yes, that is my comedic hero. That is my hero, and it's sad to.
You have good taste, and me being on a list of people you follow with Norm Macdonald is the reason why I'm talking to you right now.
Oh, that means the world to me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was.
Sorry, I don't know if you cut out there.
He was a gem.
Oh, he was a gem. Yes, I was a Norm head, as we collectively call ourselves. But so my first question, well, how often do you look through your DMs? That's why I was surprised, because, usually when people send messages to celebrities, and you being, a big celebrity, do you often look through your DMs, respond, and because I appreciate that you're here today.
I clear them out every once in a while, and it happened to be a time when I had cleared them out, so there was only like 20 or 30 in my box. So that's typically when I look at individual ones, when they're manageable, but sometimes I'll forget to clear them out, and then they'll be, it'll take me 10 or 15 minutes just to kind of spot through. But I try to read, some of them, because I'm not saying this is that example, but sometimes there are really meaningful messages people send me, and about a dying loved one or something like that, that, you'd feel horrible that you missed. But,
right.
I would say this happened to be just happenstance that I saw your message, and that it made me laugh. So, I'm a big fan of concise, and I have 62 subscribers, literally made me laugh. So I thought, well,
I thought I would cut to the chase, came before you.
Yeah.
And again, since then, I now have got 8 more subscribers to the show.
No shit. So
yeah.
you're just.
I'm hitting the big leagues, but I'm trying not to let fame get to my head.
Hey, you should give the 8 people that joined because they heard I was coming on some type of a gold membership to your subscription.
Oh, like
they should have some kind of member benefits now, just because they signed up, and then you start rolling out different benefits for different guests that you have. Like,
this is Stonestreet
who was your first subscriber? Your mom or your dad or?
Well, they don't know how to work YouTube to make an account.
No,
so no.
God no.
Yes, my roommate was my first subscriber. So for him being loyal, he gets nothing. These people who came on because of you, I will give them the world.
100%. So wait, so we're doing this live. This isn't normally when the James LeBuke show's on, right?
No. Well, this is the first official live show. You are the first guest of the live show. I've done it with I'm a student athlete, I'm a swimmer, and I've done it with 1 or 2 swimmers in the ISL, International Swim League, but no.
Wait, where do you go to college?
University of Michigan. Go Blue.
No. So you're a swimmer?
Yes. I am a swimmer.
Are you tall?
I'm 6'1". I'm kind of tall, but it's difficult when you do a sport like that because there are tall people, and I always seem overshadowed. I tell my friends, there's a guy on our team who's like 6'6", that I have to walk ahead of him for perspective. I can't stand beside him. Otherwise, it's not good with the ladies, having all your friends be way taller than you.
Yeah. Man, well, that's awesome that you're a swimmer and you're Canadian. I love Canadians.
Thank you. Oh, Canada.
Yeah. What's your best Canadian joke about self-deprecation of Canadians?
Self-deprecating Canadian joke?
Well, just to make fun of Canadians.
I'm always told
I have one, but
more just about myself. There's the we love maple syrup, but me personally, I'm an Cumberland Mills is the new Aunt Jemima. I believe. So that is I don't have a Canadian joke. I apologize. I will be more prepared next time.
Well, the
What, do
one
you
I
have one?
always, the one I always tell people is how, and you probably know this. I mean,
All right.
like, it's not like a clever, I didn't create this joke, but it's certainly fitting for Canadians. You know how to get 20 loud, angry Canadians out of a swimming pool?
No.
You say, "Hey guys, can you please get out of the swimming pool?"
There you go. You got me. That was a good one. And it's accurate. I did lessons, or I coached for a while, and that's all it took to get the kids out of the pool. But enough about me and my insanely interesting life. My 8 new subscribers want to know about you. First off, did you always want to get into show business? As a
Not
kid?
always. I mean, as a kid, I didn't know I wanted to be in show business. I knew I wanted to be a clown. People
Fizbo?
can read about the fact that I wanted to be in, Fizbo. I wanted to be in Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus. So I knew I wanted to perform at some level, but I never really thought that was where I was going to go until I went to college and did a play in college, and then that started to lead me down the path of being in show business.
And you went to Kansas State University. That's why I didn't hear Go Blue after I said it. But I'm also, like I said, a student athlete at Michigan, and am interested in a career in show business. Did you ever feel impatient after your first play, not to finish university, but just to go to LA, get into acting, or were you happy with your experience in university?
Yeah, good question. Not in college. I didn't feel that way because I didn't know enough to know enough, really. Looking back, the best thing for someone like myself in college was meeting diverse group of people. I was a farm kid from Kansas, and, first gay guy I met was doing a play in K-State, right? Like, so you immerse yourself in the diversity that is college. I guess you find different people, and you get to know different cultures, and you get to, have appreciation for other people. So that's the one aspect of going to college. As far as, like, if you want to be in the entertainment industry, do you need a botany lab class? No, you don't. And I realized that pretty, not early on, but late in my college career. It's like, well, I don't really need college, but it was an obligation to my parents, and they wanted me to be a college graduate, and, by God, I was. But I would, it's a double-edged sword, because Hollywood and show business isn't going anywhere. It's obviously changing, but, not everybody's ready to just move to Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a big place. Not everyone's just ready to move to New York. Mm-hmm. So there is some seasoning. There are some things you can accomplish and do in college, to prepare yourself for the eventual move if you decide to go that way. But when I moved to Chicago after college, after K-State, then that's when I was like, okay, I need to probably go to LA and start falling on my face there, because that's where I eventually am going to either make it or not make it. So why am I here?
Right. And you went to Chicago to do improv, am I right?
Yeah. Second City.
Yeah, Second City. And what made you decide, like, what was the step? Why Chicago for you?
Well, looking back, it was fear, but it was also, smart, because I was familiar with the city of Chicago. It was an hour plane ride away from my parents. It didn't seem like I was just like going too far away, and it was a place, honestly, because look, here's the deal. Maybe you guys I don't know if you do plays at Michigan or whatever, but here I'm doing plays in Manhattan, Kansas, right? Population 50,000 people. And I'm not putting down Manhattan, Kansas. I love Manhattan, Kansas. It's where I figured out what I wanted to do in my life. But the truth is, when people came up to me after seeing me in a play and told me that I was good, I didn't know if they knew what good was, right?
Right.
So same with you. You have to know that the people that are telling you, hey, James, you're really good at what you do, that they understand it, that they understand what's good and what the requirement of good is. So I needed to go to Chicago to, take this next step and say, like, okay, well, if people in Chicago tell me I'm good, then maybe that means something more, and that might be the step to Los Angeles.
Definitely. And yeah, I'm also from a small town in Canada, Revelstoke. It's a town of 10,000, maybe less than that. And same thing, when I was doing plays, I was always, they say you did good, but there was no props, no costumes, and I know they were being nice. So when I came here to Michigan and want to move on, that's interesting that you wanted to throw yourself into the most difficult position, because improv is, would you say, one of the hardest aspect of acting? Don't you think that's a practice skill more than, do you think it's an innate skill that you're good at, or you have to practice to be good at improv?
Well, I think we all are fairly good at improv when you think about it, because, I don't know you, right? I've never met you, but we're fairly successful at this conversation right now.
Oh, yes. Highly successful.
Right? Like, you know when to talk. I know when to talk. You know what question to ask. I know how to answer it. So we all basically improvise our way through life every day, So it's really, when you take the pressure away of being funny on stage, which is how I was taught improv from Del Close in Chicago. When you take the pressure of being funny, you either are or you aren't funny. Then it's fairly easy. Now, learning how to find the funny in an improv scene is, that's an ability that I feel like you're kind of born with. Not necessarily funny in an improv scene, but just funny in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
What your perspective on life is, how you see the world. Is it different than your cousin? Is it different than your friend? I've always been on a search with my parents, and like, well, when did you think I was a funny kid, right? Like, and not just like, a normal, regular kid. All kids say stuff that are funny, but like, at what point did you think like, oh, well, Eric's actually really like kind of like
intentionally funny,
Yeah. So it's always been interesting to me, but I wouldn't say improvising is the hardest thing. I think, you're going to find out if you're funny or not, and you don't have to be funny, right, to make it in show business. I mean, it helps having a sense of humor, because you'll certainly get your ass smacked around enough that you better be able to laugh about it.
Yeah, definitely. And you speak about with your parents, and knowing you were funny. Were they supportive when you wanted to leave to Chicago to pursue that? Because they wanted you to go through university. I'm sure they wanted you to. Did they want you to go into show business?
Yeah, I mean, they were very excited. They, the first time I, was lucky enough to win an Emmy, I thank them, very specifically for allowing me to be up there on that stage. Like, without their support, and and them not discouraging me along the way. I didn't know what I was going to do, right? But they never thought I was this weird kid, and they never censored me. Like, if I wanted to wear my purple afro to my brother's high school basketball game when I was in fourth grade, they didn't say, don't do that. Like, they just let me be me. And I think that's like so important. I didn't know what I was going to do. My dad, who's the most masculine man, guy, boy, man ever, he didn't think it was weird that his son wanted to play football, raise pigs, and put on makeup, right? And he very easily could have been like, not in my damn house, or, however that manifests itself for people that aren't as lucky as me. So I'm grateful that I had those parents. And then when I moved to Chicago, they were supportive then too, and made sure that I was available for every early audition that I could get and have, and eventually, sort of started making it on my own.
Right. And that acceptance speech, I did see that one, thanking your parents, but as well, that in your second Emmy that you won, you talked about the grind that you just talked about, or you touched on, of like getting up at 5 a.m., going to those commercial auditions. And I think that, can resonate with people with whatever they're doing, to seize the opportunities that are in front of them. What lesson did you take away from that experience, that perseverance, to do what you wanted to do.
Well, it was no actors are getting up at 5 a.m. It was you're thinking of the 5 p.m. on Friday auditions in Santa Monica,
yes.
which anybody that lives in Los Angeles knows the haul in which you have to make at that time, and the commitment you have to make to be at a 5 p.m. audition in Santa Monica and know what that means getting back to your house afterwards. But, it's certainly not digging holes, right? Like I grew up, watching my dad work with his hands, and we had pigs and cows, and like I understand what work looks like, right?
Yeah.
So I would never in a million years compare myself to somebody that goes and digs ditches and digs holes and farms and stuff like that for a living. So that's important to say right off the bat.
Right.
But there is a work ethic that one needs to possess in show business, because it is show business, right? People always talk about the show, but never the business part of it. And you have to have a drive that is more than the person next to you. What do they say about being in the woods with a bear? You don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than your friend. Well, in show business, you have to outlast people. You have to assume that other people aren't going to want it as much as you. It's like sports.
Yeah.
If you practice harder and you commit to practicing harder than Michigan State's going to practice,
right,
then they're only relying on whatever natural ability they have. You have an advantage, right? Because you practiced harder, you worked harder, you conditioned harder. Well, in acting, it's not different. Like I was more prepared than anyone else. I was always more prepared, and I was always there. You can't believe how just showing up to an audition is an advantage, because people, it's Hollywood, man. They don't have the discipline and the self-respect to be there and know that, well, shit, it's Thursday night and my friends are partying. I have an audition at Friday morning, but I'm still going to go out. Oh, I missed my audition. Well, I just won that one. I may not have gotten that part, but I just beat you there. That was one-on-one man coverage, and I just schooled you, because what did I do? I showed up and you didn't.
Right. Yeah.
So showing up and being on time, like just literally being on time and showing up on a consistent, I never missed an audition. Ever did I miss an audition. It was my job to be there. So that's an advantage. And then again, that over preparation, right? You have to learn it so well so that you can forget it and it's still in you. And I always just tried to out prepare everyone, The best thing that ever happened to me was I was in an audition for a TV show right when I got out there, and there were really thin walls between the waiting room and the audition room. And I could hear this actor in before me. It's no judgment on them. I mean, whatever it is what it is. They were terrible. Like they may not have been a terrible actor. They kept forgetting their lines, and they kept saying, "Can I start over? Can I do this? And can I do that?" And I'm just sitting there thinking, this is a professional audition. These are professional actors. These are people whose agents have sent them here. And it gave me in that moment so much confidence to know, like, holy shit, if I show up and I'm prepared, I'm better right off the bat than a lot of people here. That's a huge moment, right? To know that.
Yeah, and I think that applies to so much. You said sports itself, and even my coach in hockey would say, hard work beats talent when talent's not working hard, which I think is universal to whatever anyone's doing. And do you think, you said your parents, both worked, and you worked on the farm. Did that help as well? Sorry, that was a poorly worded question, but do you think your upbringing of being in that small you weren't handed the opportunity to be, a 2-time Emmy-winning actor?
Well, no one is handed. I mean, even in the world of nepotism in our business, when people, no one's handed anything because there's so much that's out of your control. So I would never say that I'm the guy without the silver spoon, even though I didn't have the silver spoon.
Right.
But no one in our business really has that, unless it's literally, Steven Spielberg says, my son Ron Spielberg is going to be in every movie I make. Like, unless something like that happens. People are interested in making the best project they can in the best situation, the best movie, the best TV show. So they cast and they put in who they think is going to make them look the best. It's a very selfish business, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to look as good as possible. So no one's handed anything, but 100% me growing up and understanding as I say, life existed 3 feet outside of my radius, right? We're always concerned about with what's, how does this affect me? Well, when you start thinking about how things affect others, that's a really great lesson to learn at a young age. And I did. I knew that if I wanted to sleep in and didn't feed my pigs went hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I knew in the winter, if I slept in and went to school and didn't break the water feed or the waterers and ice froze over, my pigs didn't drink. Like I was doing that in the 3rd grade.
Wow.
4th grade. So yeah, 100% you learn a lot of life lessons, by learning that life exists outside your immediate perimeter.
Yeah, and you talked about everyone wanting to look their best. You called in, but I have a video section as well. I've got a suit, a tie, slick back hair just for you, and I thought I'd fancy myself up for you, just for you.
Well, I told you that I didn't want to do Zoom just because I have a busy day going on here. It's Halloween,
and football day. And Sunday.
Football. I didn't want to shower. I didn't want to put on my Drakkar for you. I wanted to. I didn't want to spruce up. So I hope you're. What is it? How many subscribers are we up to now?
We're now at 74.
Yeah, I hope your 74 subscribers will,
They'll
let this go.
They will. I'll make them. They won't get that extra perk that you were talking about. One more question. Modern Family being such a success, my family watched it all through I was growing up, my favorite show. Cam was such a memorable character to the audience, like Rainn Wilson as Dwight, or Jason Alexander as George from Seinfeld. What are your feelings about being so connected to an influential character such as Cam?
Well, I'm thankful it happened. I mean, I learned very early on from the great Ed O'Neill, who was Al Bundy, that he's like, Eric, people are going to call you Cam. People are going to think of you as Cam, and you just have to learn that you're going to keep score in another way. And what he meant by that is how well they're going to pay you to be Cam. Like you're going to make good money to do this. And there's worse things that could be than people, kind of recognizing you as a character. But, it was always a goal of mine, not just because it annoyed me or anything like that. It's not that at all. I always wanted to be a character actor, and Cam is a character. I'd never done the character Cam before I auditioned for Modern Family. It's not like I'd, been doing that my whole life. And then thankfully somebody finally asked me to play that character. It was like, I got the material. I read the script and I'm like, how would I do this character? Well, I'm going to build this character. So I did that. So it really comes from a place of like, well, I hope I get to do that again. I hope people, will understand that I'm an actor and that was a character I played, and then allow me to come into their lives in another way, playing a different character. I'd ask you, like, well, when did what's your first memory of knowing that I wasn't Cam?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a while after, when I saw you on Ellen or something as Eric.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure other people were surprised. They're like, oh, wow, he's so much different than his character, because you assume when you watch this person on TV for so long, they're going to be a certain way, and they forget that it's a character. Do you find that annoying? Do you ever see when people come up to you, they're like, oh, you're not Cam, right? You're Eric, right?
Well, you're astute and you're what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because they still have that love for that character, but I'm assuming children, seeing you, because yes.
Yeah.
As an adult,
I
they
feel
understand.
not to put down the majority of an audience, right? I don't want to do that. But here's the deal. People don't watch TV for any other reason to be entertained.
Right.
And they don't necessarily care how the sausage is made, right? They just want to turn on their TV. They want to laugh for 22 minutes or, for a couple hours watching their favorite programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care necessarily that who I am as Eric, right? It's up to me to not like necessarily hold that against them, but by the same token, they want me to just be that character, which I totally get. And I don't feel like I have they should have an obligation to get to know me as a person. I hope they do. That's why you do talk shows. It's why, you know, you would see me doing sporting type things, because my personality is much more, you know, into sports and outdoors, you know, just I don't know how to describe it. Just guys, you know, I'm just guy stuff, like, right? Just more. So, you know, I just always thought it was important for at least to have things out there for people to know that, like, oh, that guy's an actor and he's playing a character, and that's cool, or not. People choose to see me however they want. I can't really control that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I knew that was a tough question, but I appreciated that answer and that honesty towards how people view you. Okay, so I have a last thing, which is a rapid fire.
You can keep going, dude. You're not.
I'm worried about the amount of time, because I know you have a busy day. Again, it is Halloween.
When I get bored, hey, listen. Here's the agreement.
All right.
When I get bored, I'll tell you.
All right. Good. Well, I've done well so far. So rapid.
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you. I took this from Larry King, but he has a segment.
Hey, I'm bored. I gotta get going.
All right. Thank you for.
No, go ahead.
No, I know. Rapid fire questions.
No, go. What did you take from Larry King?
He has a section called Rapid Fire Questions. You know, where
I love Larry King, by the way. Larry King just passed away. Larry King, I think, is someone who I would say became a friend of mine in the business because of our love for the Dodgers. He would sit next to me in my season tickets. Larry never really had seats. They would just let him into the stadium, and then he would wander down and then let's find a seat. And I never took, when I had 4 seats, I never took 4 people. I always took 3 people because I like to spread out with my nachos and shit. And Larry would always find his way over to me, and just turned out to be a great acquaintance, a great friend. He's an amazing person. I always tell people would be so shocked by how normal and down to earth and relaxed Larry King was as a person. Anyway, rapid fire. Go.
Well, yeah, because one more comment about that is, you know, he has done so much, seen so much, talked to so many people, that just hearing some of his stories, I'm sure, was amazing. Because he even covered the moon landing with I think Mel Brooks as well. But I'm jealous of that experience of yours. So rapid fire questions. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? I'll help you out. I do.
A form of them, yeah.
Do you think we've already met them?
Well, then you're getting into fucking time manipulation and all that kind of shit.
You think that we've met them in the past? Know. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea, but I think that we've been around so long. It's a possibility. All right, next question.
I think it's naive. I think it's naive of us to think there's not something else, right? There has to be something else, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
No worries. Good answer.
I don't think there's green guys in a saucer. Let me put it that way. But there's got to be something else out there.
Agreed. Something people misunderstand about you.
Well, I think what your question was, I think once people get to know me, they would like me as Eric as well. My sense of humor is much drier, much darker, much, more cynical in life than my character of Cam. But that's why I enjoyed playing the character so much, is because it was an opportunity for me to sort of have an alternate personality. Once I strapped those loafers on, man, I was able to sort of stop and smell the roses. That's not my nature. Honestly, Jesse and I are opposites. Mitchell is uptight and more controlling, and that's kind of me in real life. And then he's way more breezy and easygoing than Mitchell is, and that's Cam. So I would say just, and then I think the other thing is the what was your question? The
misunderstood. What do people misunderstand about you?
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily me, Eric, but like, I think fame in general, and I can't speak for people that are recognizable across the world, but I think people think that like fame feels different or something. Like that people think like if you're famous, you wake up and you're not gassy. Or if you wake up and you're famous, you don't have to remember to trim your toenails or something like that. Shit still is the same, right? I don't wake up and think I'm famous. It's only when you go out in public that fame is like a applied to you somehow when people are like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Hey, will you come on my fucking 62 listener podcast or whatever it is? Like
those jerks.
Those things are applied to you, and then you're reminded, like, oh, I guess my shit doesn't stink, or however you choose to think about it, right?
Do you enjoy fame?
I think people,
Do you enjoy fame?
Well, there are times that it's great. I mean, anybody would tell you that says it's not. It's great, but that's what my point was. Is I think people are sometimes with me specifically. Again, I can't speak for other people, but when people walk up to me, I don't see them approaching thinking they're walking up to a famous guy. I see them and think they're walking up to me. Right. And so when I meet them with the energy that is man to man, man to woman, man to person, not famous guy to person, famous guy to woman, famous guy to kid, it throws people off because they have an expectation of what fame sounds like, looks like, and feels like. Mm-hmm. And when I'm just myself and normal, they're like, well, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, nothing's wrong with me. Like, well, are you sick or something? Well, no, I'm just, how you doing? Where are you from? Like, just have a normal conversation. Mm-hmm. Like, so I think that's a misconception of not just me, but like just when you deal with people that are on TV. Now, some people like really enjoy it and like go into a hotel lobby and get all the attention they can and start taking pictures and signing autographs. Like that's good, good for them. But I also am not the guy that's like going to wear my sunglasses and put my head down in an airport. That draws more attention to you too. Like I just want to be me, and then I want people to just treat me like me. I think most people do once they meet me.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people assume that fame, it's the classic fame doesn't cure all your problems and doesn't change you as a person. You wake up, like you said, you're still gassy. You still, hopefully after maybe you have more than 74 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
What was your biggest failure and what did you learn from it?
My biggest what?
Failure. It doesn't have to be the biggest. Just a failure could be.
Yeah,
recent.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of failures,
I believe it.
right?
I believe it.
But the failures are all led me to where we are. Like that's true in relationships. Listen to Rascal Flatts song about love and relationships, and listen to Garth Brooks' song, some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Like we all experience things that in the moment feel so important, but then you have time, and time gives you perspective, and then you realize, holy shit, had I gotten into Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College when I was in college, there's no way I ever would have been in Chicago, and there's no way I ever would have been in LA for Cameron Crowe to put me in Almost Famous and this and that and that and this. So it all falls into line once you gain age, perspective, and time. So I wouldn't say I have a huge failure per se, but I feel like that would probably fall into the
those are lessons you learned from
like,
from all of the combined. You're saying how to look at failure.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of dwell on it. I think that's a good one. If you could give advice to your 19-year-old self, what would it be?
I do that every day.
I'm 19 years old.
That's why you see me. That's why you see me in sporting events. That's why you see me saying, "Gentlemen, start your engines" at a NASCAR race. It's why you see me doing anything I can with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's why you see me living like this life for 19-year-old Eric, because there are so many things that I was so passionate about at 19 that I get to participate and be up close and be right there for. Great seats, opportunities. And I try to not take that for granted, and I try not to be like this douche that's always at places. But I also know that, like, by God, if 19-year-old Eric was here, he would say, go, 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 go. And I do it for him. But I also think of it as like other fans. Like I do stuff and think like, well, this is my opportunity to represent, being a fan of something. So I would say I listen to 19-year-old Eric all the time.
I hope to get to do that one day. Well, you even, talking
about...
Oh,
but I guess that's what advice would I give 19-year-old Eric?
Well, I think that's...
Oh,
okay. Go ahead. I think that was a great story, but yes, I would love to hear the advice you give to 19-year-old Eric.
What would I have been in when I was 19? I guess a freshman in college.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what advice I'd give that guy. He was doing all right.
He was doing okay. He ended up okay. He didn't need any advice.
Mm-hmm.
So you are recently engaged. What is your advice for a healthy relationship? You seem to make it work.
Well, for me, it's obviously humor is important. Communication, transparency. You got to talk everything out. Guys have to understand, like, just talk. Communicate. It's an important thing. Learning that you don't even have to really mean I'm sorry to say I'm sorry, but saying I'm sorry is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell anybody of your female subscribers that that's the truth.
I won't.
Yeah, don't say anything to them. But like, you can just, as long as you say, "Hey, I hear you. You're right, and I'm sorry." You can walk away thinking quietly to yourself, like, "Oh fucking shit, I know I'm right, and I'm not really even that sorry." But the fact that you just did that is very important. Laughter, and then being annoying enough to your partner that when you say, "Hey, do you care if I go someplace for 9 hours or the weekend?" They're like, "Yes, please go."
Right. They want to do anything to get rid of that annoyingness.
Yeah, like being just annoying enough and problematic enough that when you ask to do something, it's like giving them a gift that you leave.
That's a smart one. I might use that once or twice.
Yeah.
Wow. I last question. I appreciate you coming on more than you can know. This was my first interview and the first live interview. What do you think I could work on? What's something, I know it was a near flawless performance, but what could I improve on?
I think you're pretty good. I mean, like, you ask good questions. You feel like you have a good demeanor. It seems like you're funny. I don't know for sure, but I think you have a funny sense of humor. I don't know. Are you a very good swimmer?
Yes, I'd like to think so.
Did you get a scholarship or did you walk on?
I did. I have a scholarship.
Okay. So are you going to the Olympics, do you think, ever?
2024, that's the goal. I think I can.
For real?
Yeah, definitely. Canada,
No
you'll see
shit.
me. If I, we'll do another interview. Maybe you'll be interviewing me. No,
I
I'm
doubt
joking.
it. But wait, hold on. What's your stroke? Other than your knuckle shuffle on your piss pup stroke, what's your stroke?
Right. Sprint freestyle. So 100 free, 50 free, the Dressel events, 200 free.
Okay, so what's the world record what's the world record currently in your best event?
In the 100 free, 46.9.
46.9?
Mm.
Did you say 46.9?
I did. For a 100 free long course. That is the world record, 46.
Okay, and so if the world record's 46.9, what are you rolling that in at?
I haven't gone. Again, this is going to be an excuse, and everyone's going to call me out on this, but it's been a couple years since I've had a meet due to COVID where I have performed well. But 3 years ago, I was a 50.2. I think no one has gotten, even Dressel, who won the gold medal, didn't go the world record this year. He was a 47.1. But if I can be in the 48s.
Your best ever in that event, 50.
50.4, yes. But I know in my heart, by this year, I will be 49 low, at least, 48 high. And if I'm 48 anything, I can get on the Canadian, or 48 high, mid, I can get on the Canadian relay. Not very, thanks. Thanks for not very excited for me. But do I have a Nemesis?
Well, I mean, it's not, you don't care if I think you're good. I mean, here's the thing about swimming. It's not up to what my opinion is. It's all fucking clocked. So
that's true. That's why I love it.
Aren't good, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, now you're my Nemesis.
Like
I'm now trying to prove you wrong. Trying to prove you're...
Well, I haven't said you're not going to make it. I want to know, the numbers are the numbers.
Right.
But hold on. Who's your Nemesis?
Nemesis.
Mhm.
It's difficult. They change from time to time. I usually chase someone, try to get them. A friendly nemesis on my team. His name's Bensa Sabados, and he's also a sprinter on our team. But we have a friendly rivalry. So
Is he a subscriber?
Better be. I don't know. I don't think he's watching right now because he's my nemesis.
Yeah. Does he think he's your nemesis though? Like that's
No,
all.
probably
You
not.
want to make sure that
No.
you're. See, then he's not your nemesis, man. You don't want to fucking be. You don't want the guy that's your nemesis to not be his nemesis.
Oh, I don't want him on my rate. No. That's good because I will be working every day. Same like previous nemesis or nemesi. You want them to not think about you, so you sneak up behind. You know what I mean? You work so hard to be better than them, but they're not looking back. They're not ready for you to strike when they're not paying attention. Don't you think? What's your approach to tackling a nemesis? Do you have any nemesi?
Well, outwork them. I mean, it's hard to in my business.
Rob Riggle.
That's what I'm saying is like in acting, it's subjective. Yours is not that way. It's hard
true.
to have a nemesis in acting because it's up to somebody's opinion, and I can't like control someone's opinion. With you, it's a stopwatch. So you're either better than or not better than that guy. So it's easier to have nemesi in sports.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I was wondering if Rob Riggle or Paul Rudd, any of those guys, who's the biggest Kansas City fan? I thought that could be a side thing.
The biggest Kansas City fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm the most knowledgeable Chiefs fan.
That's a bold claim.
It's 100% true. I don't even think they'd challenge you on it. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not as big of fans as me, but as far as football knowledge, and actual knowledge of the game of football and of the organization, I don't even think it's close.
Oh, wow! I will have to. I will hold you to that. I will now respect
So are you gonna
that.
Hold on. Are you gonna reach out to Riggle and get him on your podcast?
Well, that could be a try, but again, it's the will they respond? I timed it right with you. Now I have to. Can you make sure? Let me know when he's deleting all his direct messages, and then I will time it perfectly.
when he sees it there,
the second before he deletes them all.
Well, now I'm excited to follow you. I have someone in the swim game to follow.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate it, and hopefully, I am going to. I know I can put in the same mindset that you did towards acting and producing, and I want to get into the film industry and directing, and I would love to.
Well, just finish your swimming first.
I know, and school. Swimming. Well, the parents. You said the parents' obligation. It's almost every week I go, can I drop out? Can I do this? But then I always think of swimming. Drop out. If you're good, I know it's swimming. Exactly, it's
swimming. You were good at swimming.
I know. That's why it always brings me back.
If you're good at swim, hey, you gotta let me get a word in edgewise here. That's why I was asking you if you're good at swimming. That's going to tell you to quit swimming if you weren't good at it.
Right. No, I know, and I know if I didn't go to or try for the Olympics 2024, I'd be, that's a regret I'd always look back on. And I definitely think I can make it. I don't need your approval. Then
go for it. 100%. I got a track and field scholarship out of high school to a junior college, and I was a shot putter and discus thrower. And when I got to my first practice at junior college and I picked up the 16-pound shot put, I was like, this fucking thing is heavy. Like going from 12 to 16. And at that point, I'm like, well, I'm never going to make the Olympics. What am I doing this for?
Right.
Like you have to have like really important self-realization and getting a command of knowing what's realistic and realistic expectations. So that's why I was asking. So I'm glad to hear you're great at swimming, and I'm glad to hear you have a goal. Then go for it, because acting will always be there. What I was going to tell you was the opposite, is if you weren't good at swimming and you weren't good, not that you weren't good, but if you weren't going to like make it some way, swimming can always be in your life. It's not like you have to dedicate this prime of your youth to it if you're never going to be something with it. But I'm glad to hear you are. Go for it. I will be following you. And if you don't make the Olympics, you will be nothing short of a disappointment to me personally.
Good. I'm glad I will have that on my conscience every practice.
Mm-hmm.
Eric won't every
And I might
stroke,
even
Eric
stay
will
in your
love me.
life to fuck with
Eric
you
will
and
love me.
remind you about that.
Yo, what? Sorry.
I might even stay in your life to fuck with you and remind you.
You're
that
my
if
new
you
nemesis.
Don't make the Olympics how much of a disappointment you are to me.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Always good to have negative reinforcement, I guess.
Yes.
That I think Gandhi said that. Someone said that. But
Yeah, Gandhi. I think Gandhi or somebody else.
someone.
All right, dude.
One of them guys.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much. I know my fans will love this, and I think all your advice. I think we joked around, and I really respect you as a person, and for having me on the show, for coming on the show, and even before that. And I appreciate you taking the time. You're hilarious. I think a lot of your advice will help people, and it is very universal. I'm very bad at wrapping up shows. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can tell. God, this is brutal, dude. Remember, the best way through the end is through the beginning. So how you wrap up sketches, how you wrap up your show is you come back to the beginning. So where'd we start?
I would like to introduce our guest, Eric Stonestreet.
Not like that. No. Different than that.
We started it.
Reference something that we first started talking about, and that's our out.
All right, here. Let me go to the first. What did we talk
Can't
about?
remember really
I guess I'll catch you in the
beginning.
direct messages. In the few possibly.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
That's the turnaround point. Back to the beginning.
Except as soon as I hang up this phone call, I'm blocking you.
Good. Okay, as expected.
All right.
All right.
Be good, my brother.
You too. Thank you. Wow. If this is still streaming, what a great ending. I was panicked the whole time. I was on edge. Because he was answering questions. Let me get off this screen. Let's go to main camera. Oh, James LeBuke show. That was nerve-wracking. Because he was answering questions that were different in my notes, and I had to come up with ones, and it would always be like, I thought of one. It wasn't well formed. I didn't have that time to form it. I'm not an improv guy, and he would shoot it down and not really. He'd be like, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. And I'm like, I wouldn't have said that if I had more time to think about it. This is just what is coming to my brain right now. And then when he was talking about swimming, are you good? How am I supposed to answer that? And then he brings up that I've struggled to get a best time in a little bit. I haven't had a meet in a while, Eric. Eric is now Nemesis number 1 on the show. We don't speak of his name. This interview never happened. I'm happy with how it went. He is a great guy. And again, it's difficult when they tell you, a question and you don't have a follow-up. You're like, oh, right. Next question. It's very tough to flow. And then, I wanted to ask him, like, what was your favorite episode of Modern Family? Me too. And I had to hold back. Oh, we're just normal dudes. We're normal dudes. Because he's right. The idea of celebrity is always in your head. This guy poops rainbows and kisses butterflies for breakfast. But it's not true. Went through his ones. Aliens. That was an easy question. He blew that one. And then, am I good? Yeah, he better be messaging me and cheering me on. Now I have more motivation in my life to do better. I wasn't already super nervous about being a disappointment now, but he was on my parents' side to stay in university, so looks like I'm doing that. So that's good. I appreciate. I don't see any of the questions that people are putting in the YouTube chat, so I don't know if anyone's saying anything. I could look at it right now. The James LeBuke Show Live. Let's see if there's any questions. Oh, yeah. My weekly grievance is against Eric Stout. I don't know if anyone. Yeah, that's my grievance. I'm upset about. Yeah, we did a good job. Thank you, chat, for participating. Again, thank you. That was Eric Stonestreet. Give him a follow, please. He's hilarious. No, unfollow him. Block him. Report him. I forgot he was our nemesis. Now at the James LeBuke Show, we have a single nemesis, and he will be on the wall below everyone else in the shame corner. And I will have its own camera, the shame corner. It'll be where Dirty sits. And there will be no more mentions of Eric Stonestreet. He said started off where we were at the beginning. Thank you very much for coming to the James LeBuke Show. This was the first show. I love you guys. It's going to be hard to top that one. Let's end on a high note. All right. Arrivederci.